Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Red Devil Experience. Brentford 3, Brentford 4, Manchester United 3. Not a good game today. Not a good result as well. Obviously, we've gone back again to normal routine where we do decently well in the Europa League. We go into the Premier League. Not so good. Bad result from the team. A lot of the players struggled today. Even some of the young ones, it wasn't a great game for really anybody. And yeah, I mean, listen, the squad was heavily rotated, and you could kind of see that in the performance from the team as an overall, as a whole. It was quite dysfunctional. It didn't really work well. We managed to do okay to score 3 goals, but I mean defensively we were a disaster and a mess. We couldn't deal with Brentford defensively in any type of way. We gave up 4 goals. I'm not too fussed really about it because I mean, you look at that lineup, you look at that team. It was probably always going to kind of struggle. It was a heavily rotated team. The team haven't played too much together, so I mean, I don't know how they're necessarily were supposed to kind of succeed. I think I think Garnacho had a very good game, which was quite encouraging, and I think Amos and Fredrickson struggled a little bit. It was a tough match for them. I feel a little bit bad for them. We obviously lost a lit, which wasn't great either. It wasn't great either. So we're gonna get more into the match. Please smash the like button if you can. Helps the channel grow, and we greatly appreciate it. We're gonna do live player ratings as well. And we're gonna get to the community, and we're gonna get to the chat as well. So Axe says this team is a shambles. An army of lions led by a baffling baboon. Yeah, I mean, I kind of expected that you were gonna kind of say that, but yeah, I don't really feel like that today. I think I think he did. Listen, he rotated heavily. I think it backfired to a certain extent, but also I think he was doing a job of giving some minutes to some other people. And I think he was looking after some of our players that have played way too much football. And I think he's keeping an eye and a half on the Europa League, which we all kind of know. So it's not really a surprise. I think it's a disappointing type of performance and result today. I don't think it's one that really comes with much anger, in my opinion. Because again, heavily rotated squad. You sort of look at that team. I mean, there's quite a few players there that they haven't really been on the pitch together, playing together in that manner. It wasn't really a good performance by any aspect, and obviously we want Manchester United to win, and I think we did decently okay to, I mean, at least get 3 goals and kind of. We were kind of in the game at periods, and at other times we weren't in the game. We were far too open in the back. There was too much of a disconnect between all the players. I mean, Amos and Garnacho, they struggled with chemistry between themselves. Fredrickson struggled a little bit. The defensive line was sort of a mess. Kobe struggled as well today. There wasn't just, it was a lot of bad sort of individual performances all over the pitch, and a lack of understanding and chemistry between the players playing on the pitch. And you could just see it. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand why it kind of went the way it did. It did just. It's a team out there that just didn't have a lot of matches together. And some players coming back from injury, and I think the worst thing out of today was that De Ligt got injured again, and he probably won't make it back. I think he's going to be out, which is in my opinion is probably one of the worst things of today. I think it's probably the worst thing of today, that we've lost De Ligt. I'm kind of surprised that he started De Ligt, to be quite honest, because Delit came on at the end of last match, gave us about 30 minutes or so. Um, I think maybe it was, I don't know what the thinking was behind starting Delit. I mean, I'm sure maybe they'll ask him and he'll give us an answer. You know what I mean? I think the players did okay though to keep, to sort of keep in the game at times while they were getting very exposed. We had some chances. Garnacho scored a very good goal, and Diallo scored a good goal, and I think Mount scored a good goal as well. And I was happy to see Mount get on the score sheet, and even Garnacho. Garnacho's goal was really good, and I think Garnacho had. I think today the biggest positive for me was Garnacho, and his performance. I think he played a lot less selfish. He put in some very good balls and crosses. He put in more crosses, and was looking for his teammates a lot more than he has been so probably through the majority of the season. And he was very he was very energetic. He was very energetic in terms of he was quite fired up to try and win this match. And I feel like some of the other players they couldn't really get a foothold in the match. They struggled. They struggled, and it showed because they've been at a lack of game time, most of them. So, Garnacho obviously is one that's been starting, you know, basically every match and most of the season. So, I think that you could see the difference there. Box says, yo, Eric, I was fine with the rotation. Well, the reason why it says rotation disaster is because it's not the rotation itself that was the disaster. It was just what came out of it because we rotated so heavily. You know what I mean? So don't get the wrong idea. It's not that I'm not mad that he rotated or anything like that. We talked about it. He had to rotate. I think he surprised me a little bit because I was expecting him to maybe rotate a little bit less, and I think he rotated a lot. I think he rotated as much as possible. And I wasn't kind of expecting. I thought maybe he'd kind of half it, and go that way, and then rotated a little bit more with substitutions later on. But I mean, we knew rotation was coming, and it was sort of similar to Wolves. You know what I mean? It was sort of similar to Wolves. Like, in fact, this was rotated more than Wolves, but similar to Wolves. We rotated again. We've talked about depth in the past and stuff like that, and quality in the depth and that sort of stuff. And the aspect of the team just changes. I mean, Bruno, for the first time in his career as Manchester United player, was an unused sub. That's never happened. He always usually plays. If he doesn't play, he's at least come on as a substitute. I mean, he wasn't there. I think Mount did all right in that position, but I think again you see kind of the different qualities. It's all good and fine to say, get rid of Bruno Fernandes or drop him, but until you bring me a player that matches his quality and output, I don't see the point in it. So, Box says we've conceded tons of goals with Onana, Delit, Martinez, Delo, etc. So conceding a lot now, a lot is nothing new. Yeah, it's not really that. It's just more the fact that it was always going to be kind of, I guess, a difficult match. I mean, it's no surprises when you rotate that heavily. And the way our team has been going anyway, regardless, it was always going to be a struggle. It was always going to be a tough game. It was never going to go smoothly, especially because we're also away from home. And Brentford are, a good side in terms of like they play good attacking football, and they're fighting for a European spot. We rotated and we're resting players, and we're looking at Europa League. So it was like two teams with two different sorts of aspects going. So, there's no real anger today. There's none of that. Just disappointed that I felt like obviously I think the players on the pitch could have done slightly better than they did. It wasn't a great watch, and it wasn't something to enjoy really. But I think they did all right, at least, to make the scoreline look a little bit better, because at one point it was 4-1. And I started thinking, I hope we don't get hit for six, which we didn't, and we put two goals back on, so it makes it look a little bit nicer, I guess. For the first half and the third goal, Fredrickson had to pick up 2 and 3 players. Dorgu and Ahmad never did the defensive duties as wingbacks. Yeah, I mean, it was just, this is what I'm saying. It was just sort of a mess. Box says, we had minus goal difference before today, so it suggests that the senior players all season defensively haven't been good. Good enough. I mean, yeah, I think it's just different reasons, though. Again, I think, I think, I mean, it is true, but I just think it's for different reasons. I just think today was just it's a team out there on the pitch that haven't played much together. There's even less of an understanding and even less of a chemistry between them, and it's this is what happens when you play a rotated team. This is why they played them in cup matches and stuff. They play less together. There's less routines and patterns and stuff like that. It's less likely to work out, really. Especially where we are as well, because our first team, I mean, like Box is mentioning, our first team hasn't been clicking on all cylinders either throughout the season. So it's still sort of a mess. It's still sort of being sorted out there. So when you rotate to the backup or to the bench players, I mean, there's almost like no chance that it's really gonna be even better than our players that are playing constant matches together. So Lyles here, Lions is here. Lions has very professional performance today. Keep fit. Don't do anything that could be considered keep fit. Delit obviously didn't get the memo though. Yeah, I mean, that's the worst part about today is that we lost Delit. And I'm just thinking about it, like, he only gave us 30 minutes. I guess maybe his plan was he was going to give him 45, start the match, because he's a senior player, and obviously, Fredrickson is playing there, and Shaw is playing there, and he is, more naturally a left wing back, and not a left center back, even though he can play left center back. And then there's Amos, and Dorgu's playing on the right, and he's obviously more of a left, even though he can technically play on the right. So Maguire's played a lot, and I think maybe he was thinking, I give Delit 45 minutes to start the match, make sure we get through the first, initial 20-25 minute period, and then maybe he was probably gonna, sub him off and give him about 45 minutes, or maybe he was gonna give him 50-60. Maybe that was the plan, and obviously that backfired. So that to me is the worst part of today, because it was good to see him back. He's gone again. You hate to see that sort of thing. So guys, please smash the like button if you can. We need to get the likes up, please, and thank you, appreciate it. Box says Garnacho stepped up as the senior man, even though he's 20s. Well, he did, and that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, he was one of, there wasn't a lot of them, but there was a couple of them. I mean, even Mount, kind of supposed to be. I mean, he's older, but in terms of amounts of minutes he's played this season and matches they played this season, I mean, Garnacho was one of the players that's played the most minutes and most matches, and started the most on the pitch today, and again, I think you could see the big difference between him and a lot of some of the other players that either have come back from injury or have been injured good amounts of periods throughout the season, and haven't played much minutes and haven't played much much matches. So, yeah, I know. So, I expected more from Mano, to be honest. Yeah, I think, Mano was quite disappointing as well. Again, this isn't the first or second time this has kind of happened with Manu. When he comes back from injury, I think this is the second time it's happened. When he comes back from injury, he seems really off of the pace. He seems much lower. He seems less sharper. we saw it the first time when he came back from injury. He seemed a little bit. He just wasn't there. But yeah, I think he's struggling with that as well. So hopefully, I mean, in the next couple games, we're gonna have to use him at some point. But I don't think, I think he's gonna be coming off the bench. For the remaining semifinal in the Europa League and then the final. I don't think he'll start those matches. He might start in the Prem, which maybe will build his fitness. But obviously, then it shifts to next season, and he stays fit and does good. Off season work, gets fitter, comes back, and hopefully stays fit, and then continues on with his development. So the game was a disaster for us, clearly, says Axe. I mean, yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the strongest display. I don't think Brentford were like super great either. They were sort of sloppy and they gave up 3 goals and we gave up 4. We really struggled in the air and we struggled defensively the most part. But you could even see in the team, you know what I mean? You could see in the team, like, when they had the ball, because of the lack of game time together, a lot of them didn't know what to do with the ball. I mean, Amos was running forward and turning around way too much and passing it backwards, and there was a lot of that today. So you know, it is what it is. My buddy Jonathan Chong is in here. Said almost pulled off another late equalizer winner again. Good to see teams around me draw too. G Tech is a hard. No, listen, it is. I mean, they're not a rollover team. Brentford. They are a team that they play high pressing and they play good football and they always give you a match. And again, heavily rotated squad. I kind of expected. I mean, I didn't expect it to go in the way that it did, but there was no surprises if we kind of lost the match. I was hoping if they won, or maybe got a draw, but. When I saw the lineup, I was like, this has the potentials to go kind of very, very sideways for us. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, there was an afterthought about that too, Chong. That we got that third goal, and we were like, do we have enough time to kind of get a fourth equalizer? We didn't really kind of deserve it in the way that the match went in the 90 minutes, but. Yeah, I mean that would have been that would have been good, but you can't do it every time, you can't do it every time. The most important part is that we did it in the match that mattered more. So, Box says there was no point starting anyone starting versus Bilbao on Thursday. Yeah, I mean, that obviously. And again, all those players, they've played way too many minutes and way too many matches, and they all need a rest. And that's why I'm not mad at Ruben Amorim. I think he, it was a bit of a gamble, and it was a bit of a risk, but I think it was one that he sort of had to take because we have to look after these players that have been performing and have been starting in the Europa League, and that's obviously our most important thing now in the season. And Bruno needed a rest, and Rasmus definitely needed a rest, and. I think I would say even maybe Garnacho might have needed one, but then we're really down to a lack of options. And I think Garnacho being a young guy, I think you could push him a little bit more than some of these older players. Not that they're like old, but just they're older than him. They've played a lot more matches in their career, so and a lot more minutes, and they have a lot more wear and tear on their body than somebody like Garnacho. So. Axe says we cannot accept constant defeats. Well, I mean, this season in the Premier League is what it is. Again, and today was a different circumstance than if we had all our players out there like Casemiro and Ugarte. I think Ugarte actually had a decent match as well. So, I think he was much better. I think he was much more of a presence today than last time. And he was one of the more senior players out there as well. There wasn't a lot. That fourth goal looked offside. Box said it did slightly, but it wasn't. I saw the replays, and he was on. So, Yeah, Box. Yeah, Axe has been Amarim out for like since he's gotten here. So, um, it says we win. He's Amarim in. Look at Thursday, and when we lose, he's Amarim out. Well, again, he's a very emotional type of person when it comes to United. So, I mean, it happens, but we know we know what he's like, so we know how to navigate it. I know what it is. Um, Fox says at least we started to score late goals under Amorim. Just need early ones too now. Well, yeah, I mean, there's some things that we got to tighten up and we got to do better. Again, I think there's some signs in the team that's quite encouraging, and there's things there to build on. It's not like we have absolutely nothing. But there's just some things in the squad that they're gonna have to be cleaned up. They're gonna have to be fixed up, and that's gonna have to be for next season. I mean, that's gonna have to be part of the preparation for preseason and making sure that in the next season and the new season that sort of stuff is cleaned up. So um but yeah, some things have improved, some things haven't improved, they're sort of stay the same, and then they have a job to do that. Axe says, I keep finding excuses for Amorim. Eventually, you run out of excuses and wake up to reality. Rotation or not, Man United can't lose to Brentford. And I'm going to tell you, Axe, I don't know what era you live in, but I would advise you to please download the last 13 years into your brain, because you speak of Manchester United in a way which we haven't been in the position that we've been in. I get that you want to kind of maintain standards, that's fine, but also when you say things like that, you're talking about it like we're still in 2004 under Ferguson, and we haven't been there for quite a long period of time, and there's been quite amounts of failures at Manchester United over the last 12 years. So, you know, kind of understand the situation that the club has been in for a long time now. Because I get, at the end of the day, we don't want to be losing matches. We don't want to have the season we want to be having, but also ignoring all the circumstances and just saying that this is unacceptable. Um, doesn't this it's not a working solution to anything. We're trying to actually rebuild this club and team properly, for the first time in 13 years, and it's going to take time, and it's never going to go smoothly. We're going to have lots of ups and downs. There's a lot of work to be done. It's a hard job, and again, you can hate Ruben Amorim all you want, that's fine, and I'll tell you that there's no manager in the world that's going to come here and find this job to go really swimmingly. They're all going to struggle. I don't care who it is. Not even if you bring back Sir Alex Ferguson, would it go swimmingly? Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done in this team and this club. So, with the amount of sugar Axe is eating, the cookies, I imagine he'll be parting like. Well, I think he's living in 1999, because sometimes he says things like we are in 1999. And we're not. I mean, we've been very unsuccessful for 13 seasons. We know where we are. Um, you know, we know where we want to go, and we know where we want to be, and that's fine. And you can hold that in your head and in your heart, but you also have to understand that nobody's gonna come here and make this. Nobody's gonna figure this out in a season or two. No matter what manager comes, it's gonna take them at least 3 seasons. Like every other manager at every other club project, that takes them from a place where they're not so successful to being successful. There's nothing really other than that. Fox says if Garnacho can be coached, plus he develops, he could become a very top player. He has 21 goals assists this season. Is it really that high? And is always a constant menace / threat to the opponent, despite his form being underwhelming. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been quite the argument that we've been sort of making. this season, right? Uh, for him, and I think there is a chance and an option to do it because again, he's a young guy, and I think um, I think he can do it. I mean, he's showing a little bit of encouraging signs. He seems to kind of understand that he needs to be crossing and passing the ball more. I think over the last, at least the very least, the last two matches prior to the what was it, 1 or 2 matches ago, where I called him out for being, super selfish and being ridiculous about it, and having a terrible game and losing the ball. I would say the past 2 matches he's been better. He also always have that sort of constant menace threat at the opponent, like Box has mentioned. So that's always his positive. What he needs to do is do more like he did today. I was much more happy with him today. I mean, he put in some very good passes and crosses, whether they were on the ground or not, into the box and finding his teammates. And decision making was better in terms of, sometimes he'd cut them back into the open space and not just forcing them into the 6-yard box. And he got the assist for Mason Mount's goal as well. So I think he was the one sort of positive or bright point in today's game. I think he had a very good game, and I think it was a very good individual display by him. So Fox says Amorim is a free hit this season, in my opinion. Well, I mean, that's certainly how it's gone. I think there was a lot of hope that maybe we can get an uptick in form when he came in, but I think we were mostly all caught up in the hype of the manager. And also I think there was many fans out there that, again, they solely and specifically blamed just Eric Ten Hag, and they really did believe that by just switching the manager, all the problems would go away. And we clearly said that wasn't the case. I mean, everybody was at fault, him, the players, and everybody else. So him coming in and taking over in the midst of a season and making the changes that we made to the playing style and to the team. I think we kind of lost sight of that in the initial period, in the hype of, Amorim and his system and what was going on at Sporting, and we kind of lost sight of the real problems, which is that, regardless of the manager, I mean, he's using the same players for the most part that got his predecessor sacked. So obviously they weren't that good and they weren't performing that good. And he had to take them over, and he had to do it. But I after a certain point, once it was quite obvious that there's a lot of these problems, and you're not going to fix these problems in the middle of a season. That's kind of been my thinking box, is that the real job does start next season. It's got to improve. He knows that, and he's gonna have to do it. So, Fox says even sometimes he's greedy, or he skies a shot to Rosie or get dispossessed. He still provides an outlet, plus the oppo on the back foot. Listen, I don't really have a problem if he's greedy a little bit at times, because the situations where you need that, for me, it's more just, or he skies a shot. I never really have too much of it. It's when they overdo it. It's when he overdoes it. He overdoes it sometimes, and it just needs to be more balanced out. Like, I think like today was, I think it was very balanced. I think he was what he needs to be. Today, I think what he needs to be consistently. Again, he was threatening with the ball. He was a problem. He put in, good crosses, looking for his teammates, good passes. He scored a great goal. So it's just more of that. He just needs to add a mix to his game. You know what I mean? And Axe says, and I'm glad he actually bring this up. He said, no Rasmussen, yet Obi was useless. It's not about the striker. It's a systematic problem. The tactics are trash, he says. Prime R9 couldn't have scored in the system. Well, again, you say tactics are trash. It's the same tactics that Victor Gyökeres was scoring all the goals in, and Sporting was the number one team in all of Europe, and in the Champions League, outscoring every single team there was. So I don't believe it's the tactics. Again, I believe it's the personnel that we have at the team. But the point that I really wanted to pick up on, because I was going to mention it, was that I hope with some of the people out there that they understand today that it isn't solely just Rasmus Højlund and sort of just getting and replacing. I mean, yeah, maybe, if you get sort of that elite striker, yeah, they'll add a couple goals more probably because they'll be able to create some chances out of nothing themselves, probably more than Rasmus and Obi can. I mean, Obi's a young guy, and it was his first start, and played the full match. But yeah, I mean, if we don't have the personnel to do what the team needs to do, clearly the strikers are going to struggle, which is why we need to revamp the attack, and he needs players in, because we clearly don't we clearly don't have the players to perform to the characteristics of what the system and the formation and the tactics call. It's a lack of execution on the pitch by the players, and that's what we've seen today as well. I mean, the players struggle to execute. Players like Manu and stuff like that. Really, mostly everybody struggled. I think, barring Garnacho, I would say. Fox says, good to see Ahmad back. Yeah, that was good. And that was another positive as well. He's another player that you can see frightens defenders and gives us an outlet to attack or push players. Yeah. And that's kind of one of the biggest sort of problems, I guess, is that, there's one in Ahmad, there's one in Garnacho. I think Ahmad is slightly ahead in Garnacho in terms of being less selfish and creating more opportunities for teammates and stuff like that. But really, at the baseline, Garnacho and Diallo are the two only players that we have that are those sorts of players. If you lose either one, it's a different characteristic. It's a different type of play. So that's sort of an issue as well. And that's why, I've been saying we need more quality, and we need more depth in the quality. We don't have enough. When you start going through players, there's some players here that their characteristics just don't fit what we're trying to do. And we need to get players in that can actually do the job in the positions that they're playing and be effective as well. So Lyle says 6 months into the job, introducing a new system, coaching style, changing mentalities. Yep, Amarim definitely gets a pass. Well, that's how I feel. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. That's what I've been saying. And again, I think he's done well in Europa League to get us to where he's got us, considering where we were when he took us over. And I think just some of the team, the personnel in the team needs to change for the Premier League, because the Premier League is a it's a different type of football, and I just think that this team lacks the characteristics to really be able to compete very well in the Premier League at the moment. And so that's why he needs to get transfers in, because we need to transform the team. This team is right now, I think under Ruben, we haven't even hit cocoon stage. We're not. It's not there to transform into a butterfly yet. We're still in caterpillar stage. We're moving, but it's very slow, and we're not. It's taking time, and it's going to take some time, because we're in caterpillar stage right now. And we're going to have to get players in and change the aspect of the squad. Again, I see our situation right now is sort of, in my opinion, it's very similar to Arteta and Arsenal when they took over. So I think we can do what they did there. But again, our club has to be operating in a proper manner to transform that team into that sort of team. Um, but yeah, um, full preseason should help as well. No international tournaments as well to deal with it. Well, yeah, I mean that's the idea and that's the planning behind it, right? And again, I'm going to put emphasis on this. Um, they better look ready. I think Ruben Amorim, one of his main jobs for next season is that preseason better go well, and it better be used properly. I think one of the things that I was highly disappointed in Eric Ten Hag um, is that the preseasons didn't seem to go too well, and when we started every season, we didn't start it well. Again, I think the last two seasons under Ten Hag, I think we only got 5 points out of a possible like 17 or something like that. I forgot how many it was. We got like 2 wins out of five or something like that, which you can't start the season like that. So I think for Ruben Amorim, the importance is that he has to make sure that the team uses the preseason properly and is starts on the front foot and is not starting off behind. We started off behind, and it's a struggle for the rest of the season because we end up playing catch up for the rest of the season, and he can't really afford that. But more so, just as a team that's trying to compete, we can't afford that. So I put great emphasis on that. That for me is, in my opinion, number one priority and something that I'm looking for him to complete and check off the list in the beginning of the season, is to make sure that when we're watching the team play in like the first one or two matches, we might be a tad rusty because that's how the matches in the beginning of the season go. But I mean, we have to have an improved result in terms of the last two seasons of how we started, and we need to look sharper. I mean, this season, the way we started was one of the reasons why I lost faith in Eric Ten Hag, because for me, I was trying to put myself in his shoes, and I was like, well, I almost there was a question over my job. It's my third season, and the team needs to be 100% prepared, and they looked very very unprepared. So I don't know what was necessarily going on when what we were doing during the preseasons and training and stuff like that, but I mean, it wasn't great. So it's something that he's gonna have to make sure that he gets absolutely correct. Otherwise, I think it's gonna be a very tough time for him again. So Custard123 said, called it. Out of the teams playing in Europe, 2 lost and 1 drew. Yeah, I mean, there's a rotation and it's gonna happen. So boxes on the back of being here for 8 months should be great help to Amarim in the summer. Well, that's always kind of been it's kind of always been, I guess, the hope and the plan. And I from the information that we got, and I mean from Ineos, that's kind of what they were sort of thinking, and why they forced Ruben Amorim to come in the middle of November. Because I think they were hopeful. Maybe obviously it wouldn't have been this bad. But obviously their goal was always to go higher. And to go higher, that was always going to be next season. I think. When I mean higher, I'm talking about like trying to get into the top four, or I guess it's a top five now. But yeah. Access, stop comparing us with Sporting. Nah, you said the tactics were shit, and the tactics are the same that played at Sporting. So I don't know what to tell you. Um, I'm comparing the two teams. He had personnel there that obviously worked for his system, and he obviously came here to a team that's not his, that doesn't play the system or style. So you say the tactics are shit. I disagree. I say it's the personnel. And I keep saying it's the personnel because it's quite clear that it's the personnel. Um, Custer says not making the most of the players though. Yeah, but that's his but he told us this was gonna happen, and I've already accepted that, and it's quite clear. And I always agreed with it because it was one of my things that I said that why all the other managers failed anyway. So might as well try it the other way. I mean, every manager we gotten has come here and conformed to whatever players we had, and those players were bought without a clear plan and identity, and the manager was left tasked to make up a football style that wasn't their football style and wasn't their system. It was a system for the players, and look how that worked out for all of them. They all got sacked and they all failed. So I always said that whoever it was, regardless of if it was him or whatever, the manager that comes, we need to conform the team to the manager's sort of play style, and make it our play style, and make it our and make it our system, and make it our identity as a football team, because we didn't even really have one, and if we did, it wasn't even really a good one. It wasn't one that was really competitive anyway. So um Lion says Garnacho, Ahmad, Mount all on the score sheet. Is it me, or are they all attacking players? Isn't that what we wanted? Well, yeah, I mean they did get on the score sheet, and um well, what we really need is that we need to be creating, we need to sort out the striker um sort of aspect, because obviously the striker is the one that's supposed to get us the most goals, and that's really their job, and that's sort of missing there. And it's good when the other attacking players like Garnacho, Ahmad, and Mount get on the score sheet, because that's part of the system, and that's we're gonna need that. I mean, it can't always be the striker, um, but the striker option's really lacking, and we need to figure out how we can sort of keep players like Garnacho, Ahmad, and Mount, and Bruno, for example, and probably Cunha, like getting on the score sheet. But at the same time, we need to figure out how to create and better chances for the striker, and get the striker to really be scoring and really be involved. And that aspect is really missing. The defense has really been a problem, which we got it, which is probably one that we have to sort out more. But again, I think there's too many players here that aren't his, that don't fit his system, and the characteristics needed to execute it properly. So I think there's some that have shown some signs of improvements, some that do quite well in it, and I think we're obviously going to use them, and we have to use them. But yeah, Custard says there's no sign of Amarim coaches, he just buys new players. Well, I don't think that's true. Um, I don't think that's true. Um, I think some of the players at Sporting, number one, the youth players that he bring through. I mean, he certainly was coaching them, and they were developing under him. And they were sort of taking a prominent role in his teams. And then even when you buy new players, especially for that team that Sporting don't have money, and they play in the Portuguese league and stuff like that. Uh, he kind of made Victor Gyökeres into the elite player that he is now, and some other players. But there's not, there's not. I mean, no coach is doing miracles. Again, like Pep was a checkbook manager, is a checkbook manager. And you can develop some players there, but again, it's about acquiring players that have a certain characteristics to their game naturally, that fit your idea and philosophy of football. You can't just coach certain players into it. They just don't have it. It's not part of the game. They're never gonna have it. It's never gonna work. So you always have to buy new players regardless. And the point of buying the new players is that they have something about them that fits into your plan. So um, yeah. Um, Axes never stop requesting greatness. Nobody's telling you to do that. I mean, I think we all want greatness, but you do it in a way that is very I don't even know how to describe it. You just request greatness, and you throw out all circumstances surrounding it, and you just demand greatness, and things don't work like that, in my opinion. Um, and it's not just our team; it's pretty much any team. But considering our circumstances that you know greatly about, that we're owned by the Glazers, and the disaster that they've done to us in the past 13 years, well, some argue 20, but because Ferguson kind of masked that, and masked them for a while because he was just so exceptional. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Looking at the problems this team has and what we have available, yeah. X says we are in baboon stage now. Yeah. Um, Fox says in some games versus lesser sides, would you be for starting Garner and Ahmad as wingbacks? Would be ultra attacking, but it could put teams to the sword, especially with tens and center forward. Yes, and I think that's part of his ideas. Because again, um, he doesn't change the number, so he's not going to change to a four back in matches. But his system is dynamic in that depending on what players you put where and what characteristics they have as footballers, the system and the formation will play in a different way, in a different style. And I think for some games, and I think he will look to do this, but I think it's been sort of a very hard transition period, and it's been hard to sort of find a good rhythm. But I think if and when he gets there, and sort of gets the team more solid, um, yeah, I think those are things that he's going to be looking to do, because that those are his tactical changes. There will be some matches depending on how teams play, that we might have one actual defender playing wing back and one winger like a Diallo or Garnacho. There might be some games where we should be able to, once we get the pattern and play and all this stuff down, we should be able to dominate these matches. We should have most of the possession. We should be able to, you know, we should. It's a team we're playing against that we should be winning quite comfortably, and I think that we will see, a lineup of like Garnacho and Diallo. But I don't know if Garnacho can. I don't know if Garnacho can play wing back. I don't know if he wants to use him there necessarily. I mean, maybe things will change next season. But I know Diallo can do the job. Definitely. I don't know if Garnacho has sort of the defensive aspects. It's not about running back. It's about, you know, actually doing the defensive job, which I think Diallo can do it quite well. I think Garnacho, he does sort of like what I do, or what I used to do, which is run back and kind of just stand in front of the player, but you know, not really getting the ball back. So maybe we need somebody else to kind of do that job. But yeah, I think things will be switched up like that as well, as we continue to go forward. Uh, because he's done it, previously, and that's sort of his idea and his philosophy is mixing and matching, which is why it's important that we get also these sort of multi-positional players that can do sort of one or two different jobs. It's important for that aspect so that he can, sort of change things around, move things around, adjust during matches, and adjust the tactics properly. That's how his sort of system works. Um, and it doesn't have to, it doesn't have to go to a fullback. It's just about having players with different characteristics in it to make the team different. Box says United's youngest ever starting Premier League team today, I believe. Well, I don't know. But if it is, I mean, that's good. And he said, listen, again, he gave some of these youth players a go. I hope it's a bit of a wake up call to some of the people out there that understand that, just chucking in youth isn't going to really, you know, it's not going to transform the team in one match. Again, nobody's under any illusions. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. He has a lot of work that he has to do with this squad that he has available, and also Ineos and our hierarchy, they have a lot of work in terms of that they need to help transform this team for the manager to have a good platform to continue to transform the team. Custard says people always forget that preseason is a complete waste of time. It's just traveling around playing the reserves. Well, I mean, it can be, or I wouldn't say it's a complete waste of time. I think it can be if you don't utilize it and use it properly, but um, it's not necessarily a complete waste of time because it helps to build fitness, and there's a lot more training you can do. Um, with the squad, you have a lot more training, you have a lot more options that you can do. So I wouldn't say it is a complete waste of time. It depends how you use it and how you go about it. I think it can be a complete waste of time. I think not to the fault of Eric Ten Hag as well, but I mean, I didn't like the scheduling of our preseason, and I don't necessarily like the scheduling of our preseason. Um, for this one coming up, I do think that it's quite too much traveling around. I think the games are quite too close to each other as well, and I think it's sort of a mess because again, you have to take the time to travel. And this comes because probably our owners want to get that American money. And if you don't understand necessarily why, I mean, I don't know how it goes about in other places, not in America, but I can tell you in America for sure because I mean, I've been to one. Well, I've been to a couple, and I live here. But when they come to America, ticket for a preseason game is more than people that pay to go to Old Trafford. I seen some of the prices that people complain about at Old Trafford. Um, and I'm like, yeah, I get it because that's what you guys are used to, and I'm not hitting anybody there. I'm just saying, but like when I see that ticket price, I'm like that, and I'm thinking about it for what I paid here to go see a preseason game. I'm like, that's fairly cheap because I'm paying almost 2.5 times the amount. And certainly in America, you know, you're gonna get the money for it. And yeah, and this is how it goes, and this is why we're going to America for a third time. I mean, it's not because they love America so much that it's a great thing for the football aspect. It's clearly about money, and they're clearly making the most money from the American market because of the American money. So it's certainly an issue. Um, Chad's here as well. Um, Hold on, because I lost my place. Axe says, I hope he gets fired by Christmas. Nuggets man in. Well, I'll tell you 100%. I think that's a disgrace that you're saying he hope he gets fired. I'll tell you that much right now. Because that means that United will have failed again and we will be in a very bad position in the league. So you hoping Ruben Amorim gets fired means you hope that United have a shit season and that we get absolutely destroyed. So think about that twice. And also I'll tell you that, you say Nuggets in. Well, one, there's no guarantee that Nuggets will come in. And two, even if Nuggets does come in, which is Nagelsmann, by the way, for anybody that doesn't know, again, I think Nagelsmann, it will still take Nagelsmann 3 seasons to get the team properly structured and working. So you're willing to give Nuggets 3 seasons, but you're not going to give Ruben Amorim 3 seasons. I don't know. I don't know. To me, it doesn't really matter who the manager is, whoever they got, and whoever they bring in. They clearly have a gigantic task at hand, and it's going to take them time, regardless of who it is. Um, so yeah, he won't leave Germany 6 months before the World Cup. Yeah, I don't think that's happening. I mean, he was asking for Ancelotti. Ancelotti's going to Brazil. I mean, these guys aren't going to solve the problems we have in the squad. Again, Axe is doing what people did to Eric Ten Hag, in that they just blamed Eric Ten Hag 100%, and they think that by getting a different manager, all the problems will go away and will be sorted, and we'll win the Premier League in 1.5 seasons. And it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen because we haven't been in a position to do so. Chad says this formation ain't it. I mean, that's your opinion. Some people like it, some people don't. Again, I'm not too fussed about the formation. It's more about how the team plays and what kind of characteristics you have. I think the formation really isn't a problem. I think we just need personnel that fits the system better. And we obviously don't have it to that full extent, and we need to do a job. Costa says, unfortunate that the two best players from last year, Mano and Garnacho, don't fit the formation. Well, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah. I think Mano is all right. I just think that Mano is suffering from being injured and lack of sharpness, and I think he just needs to build that out, and I think he'll be okay. And I think with Mano, again, we kind of have to just pick and go and choose. What are we gonna do with him? Are we gonna use him as a CM, or are we gonna use him as a 10? Whatever it is, I don't even really care at this point. But like, we have to sort that out and then go with it and then develop from there. Garnacho, I mean, obviously, naturally, he's inside forward, but I'm a little bit encouraged by the last two games because clearly he can kind of do what we need him to do in this aspect. He scored a goal, he got an assist, and he was very threatening. So I think there's a big possibility that he can sort of fit the formation or the system, whatever you want to call it. But he needs a little bit more work and a little bit more time, and he's a young guy. The good thing about it is that they're both young guys, and you can kind of develop them into fitting the system. Some of these other players that are older, that they obviously don't have the characteristics, you're not going to get it out of them. But I think both of them have good qualities in them, and they're young, so I think you can develop them into fitting it better. Lion says, I actually don't mind the formation when you have correct players. I think it's very flexible. Just wait till next season. Well, that's the thing. I think that the system is very flexible. I just think that our squad, in terms of options, isn't very flexible to a certain extent. And I think that's probably one of the bigger issues and bigger things that are happening right now. Chad says Mano is a center mid. Well, I mean, sure, but there's many people that argue that they would like to see him and they think that he can play as a 10. So again, I think that just means that we haven't really figured out what we're actually going to do with him, and we need to, for him, for his sake as well, but for the team as well. So again, what I don't really care, center mid or 10. Just let's pick one for the kid and let's let him play there and develop there and grow. So no plays were improved by Amorim. Yeah, don't really care. Don't really care. Because I don't care about improving players individually. And he's been here for 6 months, so it's about the team. It's about the aspect of the team. And players are gonna struggle to improve when the team can't play together. They go hand in hand. So if the team can properly play together and things click, everybody will say, "Look how good these players have developed." And everybody just says it's an individual thing. It's not. So when we get the characteristics for the squad correct, and we get better options and better players, and it starts playing better, then players will have a platform to actually become better and perform better. So, Chad says scoring 4 past us is easy. We in for 1 this week. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Again, this was a heavily rotated squad. I'm not taking that today. This was not our strongest team. This was not a team that has played matches together in any aspect. Um, so again, I think we did well in Europa. We beat Bilbao. This is our strongest team. We'll have our strongest team out again. Um, and I don't think we're in for one this week. I think they'll go and do the job that they need to do because they are more senior players, and even they've been quite inconsistent. But in Europe, they've been good. So, um, Custard says, "What are your expectations in the league next season if we win Europa? Or if we don't win Europa?" Well, I think regardless of if we win or we don't win Europa, we a position in the league is kind of hard to dictate. Obviously, we would want to try and get back into the Champions League. If we're not in it, if we are in it, obviously we still want to be in it the following season. Um, for me, I think it's very basic. Maybe they won't like the answer, but I'm gonna take the season as it goes. My hope is that I'm just looking for strong improvements all around. Obviously, we can't finish this low. We can't have this low amount of points. We need to be competitive. I don't, it feels sort of hard to say that he's got to make top four or get sacked because I think the project at the club is sort of a very difficult one, and I think we're sort of a mess. So it's kind of hard to really gauge how far off we actually are from it when we find some actual rhythm and like concreteness. Um, but we should be around somewhere around I think sixth place and being competitive and not being far off from top five, top four. Um, but I think there's also things that need to kind of happen before we sort of start making it up. I mean, I need to see what we do with transfers, who we transfer in, who we transfer out. And then I need to see the team and how they start playing and how we do next season, and where it goes from there. Um, but yeah, obviously we can't have a season like this. But to say for me to put it sort of a position, um, it's a little bit difficult because it's a bit hard to gauge the team of where we're really at. I mean, last season we finished eighth and we had a bunch of injuries. This season, we're gonna finish like 14th or some shit like that. And it's been one that's been quite hectic with the sacking and of a manager and hiring a new manager and making the changes that we made and all this stuff. So, it's kind of hard to gauge how far away the team really is. Because if things go well and we round out some things and we look much stronger next season, um, you know, comparing to sort of some of the bigger teams, maybe we're not as far away as maybe it feels like we currently are. Or maybe we really are that far away. And in that case, if we are monumentally, if we're actually, if our team is actually this bad, regardless of whatever, because finishing eighth and then doing this, if we are really that bad, then and we really are that far away, then obviously it's going to take more time and it's going to take more changes. So, I mean, it's a good question. It's just one for me that I sort of don't have a clear cut answer at the moment, Custard. So, um, Chad said we won 10 men. At least we dominated 10 men this time, unlike against Wolves and the Casemiro effect against Lyon. Yeah, we won 10 men, but that's football. They got it right for red card. We were all right in the first 20-25 minutes of the match. I mean, I wasn't really scared of them. People said we were going to get clocked 3-0. First 20 minutes in, didn't really feel like that was going to happen. And I'm not, I'm not taking that as any type of luck. It's a game of football. It's a match of football. You don't know what's going to happen. They got it right for a red card because we were threatening and we were doing good things on the pitch, and we forced them into making a bad mistake, which is what teams do. So Lumen says it was only wise to go for draws in the Premier League, playing a double pivot, which could have given us 5 extra points. Yeah, what's five to 6 extra points? What is that really gonna do in terms of like the overall meaning of the project? Um, you know, I think he's trying to. I think he's trying to sort out the first team and make them play in the way that he wants them and needs them to play. And you're not gonna get that by reforming things and sort of worrying about points, especially at this point of the season. Because again, I think they're looking at next season, whether you like that or not. I think the biggest thing is for next season, and it's making sure that this doesn't happen again, and it's making sure that we have a much better season next season. And to do that, you have to prepare for next season by doing things that you're going to get hurt in because you're not very good at it and you're going to struggle. But that's the plan, to become better in those things, and that is the way that we have to go about those things. So, he said these things from the very beginning. He said he's going to do it his way. He said we're gonna suffer for it. Quite clearly knew that. Um, and that's for obvious reasons because I think he looks at the characteristics of the players and uh, what he's got available and how they fit into his system, and I think it's quite obvious that it doesn't really fit that quite well. But um, we're not you can't be a turtle and go into your shell and hide to stay protected and then come out and try and be a lion. So um the team's going through a hard time, and this happens in football and it happens in teams. You go through growing pains and struggling and processes with the plan and hope that it pays off in the end. So part of the process. It's part of the process. Um, Hold on, because I just. That says Nuggets versus Thunder, switching gears to basketball. It says SGA all the way. Well, we'll see. Um, some of the games have been shit, Chad. In the playoffs. I mean, you call them playoff games. I don't know. Ray says, stop playing rotation. We play negative football. The other team play positive football, and the results showing it. Wait, why? Stop playing rotate. We play negative football. I mean, we don't play negative football. I mean, we rotated the squad. The squad doesn't play. I mean, the players on the pitch today don't play with each other. So there's a lack of understanding. I mean, too many of the players, they didn't really. There wasn't good communication on the pitch today. They didn't know what they were really doing in terms of playing with their teammates, and that's because they don't play together. Brentford had their strongest team out there because they're fighting for a European position. We're not. We rotated. So again, I think this match is not a match where you can say, it's a different circumstance, and again, I don't understand things like he gets crucified for not playing the youth. He puts in a couple kids, rotates the squad. We lose the match. The game doesn't go well, and it's his fault again. So I don't know what the guy wants. What do you want him to do? What do people want him to do? Because you say people say things very basic, but they don't offer solutions. There's no solutions being offered, just statements. And it's fine. You can make a statement, but if you're not offering a solution or trying to say maybe something that he can do to make it better, then I don't really get what the point is. We won't have a 3 at the back with a new manager, but I don't think that is, again, I get that to a certain extent because this team doesn't have the characteristics to play this system. But I could tell you right now, I don't really give a shit about this team. Well, why are we protecting the team? as players? What have they accomplished that we should be getting rid of managers because they play three at the back because the players can't play it? You know, in my opinion, fuck the team. The team hasn't done anything. The team is not successful. We don't even have a real team. You know, the team under Eric Ten Hag wasn't a real team. Good, you know, won an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup. Do people accept that and really hold that to a high standard? No, they don't. That's not good enough for them either. So, you know, why don't we just do what we've never done and actually transform the team? You know, it's not about the formation. It's not. It's about the personnel. Doesn't matter really what we play. 3 back, 4 back. You know, we don't have the players and we don't have the characteristics to really compete at the highest level. So, I was the only one to stand by Eric Ten Hag till the end. Well, that's very good for you. I mean, I was pretty much there up until the last couple matches because it was over. And it wasn't going to really get better. So that's fine. Again, I just like every other manager, I've given them all 3 years. I'm going to do the same for this guy. So the formation doesn't fit the spirit at the club. Well, you tell me what the spirit of the club is. What has been the spirit of Manchester United in 13 years, Chad? I'd love to know. Because I have one word for it: losers. Losers and not good enough. That's what that is. So what formation fits the spirit of the club? Because we've always played a 4-back. Okay, but Ten Hag played 4 in the back, wasn't great. Mourinho did it at times, and Ali did it at times. But where did that lead us to? All those projects collapsed. All those projects failed. All those projects ended in disaster. So again, it goes beyond the formation, dude. It's not about the formation. It's not about the formation. You know, and Axe says the formation. It's not about the formation. Should have kept Rude. Yeah, that went real well for him at Leicester. You have no clue what would have happened if Rude stayed. Could have went exactly the same. Could have been worse. We could have not been in the semifinal of the Europa League right now. You have absolutely no clue to say that. RSV says Ancelotti needs ready-made players, but it might not work in the EPL because the financial gap and golf in quality. Between Barca, Real Madrid, and the rest of the teams in La Liga, the Big Six, and other clubs in the Prem is night and day. After all, La Liga protected Barca, Madrid, and helped them rake up the most amount of TV revenue. That is not the case in the Prem. Well, yeah, but also, I would just say, RSV, is totally different circumstances. I mean, Real Madrid is owned by their fans. And Perez has been in charge of the club for quite a long time, and Perez has done a very good job for the club, which is why he's been in charge for a very long time. And you know, so is Barcelona. It's different circumstances, you know. We're and the leagues are different, and I agree with that. But again, different circumstances. I mean, we're owned by the worst owners probably in the entire world, and maybe so much in history, and what they've done and what they've allowed to happen over the over 13 years has made an exceptional amount of damage, has pushed us very, very far backwards. And for anybody that comes to this club and has to try and make it better, it's going to take time, it's going to take money, and it's going to be a struggle. So you know, there's no manager that's going to walk in and fix this, because again, it's an organizational thing. It has to go from the top to the bottom, all over. We have to recruit the proper players. The manager's got to do his thing. The players got to do their thing. The coaches, the coaching staff, training staff, scouts, everybody's got to do their part, which they haven't been doing for 13 years. So, Prem is more of an even playing field than Liga. Well, that is true as well, and there's more money in it, and there's more money spread, and that's just making our job harder as RSV. It's just making our job harder, especially with the fact of the way we've operated for so long. It's making us harder. How is Maguire's performance today? I mean, how was anybody's performance today? The team was not good. Besides maybe Garnacho. Um, I saw Maggie clueless. All right, but where were you the past couple games? Maggie wasn't clueless the other past games. So now we're just gonna pick on the one. We're gonna pick on the manager, and we're gonna pick on Maggie. You know what's it got to do with Maguire? The team didn't perform well today. It was heavily rotated. You know, I don't understand why people are. Um, I don't understand that. Axe's goal for next season: compete for UCL and EPL. No more excuses. I mean, yeah, you could compete, but what if you don't finish in those positions? This is what I'm trying to say. In circumstances, we could compete for most of the season. So let's say we're competitive for most of the season, but we don't make it. Maybe we miss out by a couple points. Well, then how do you judge it then? This is why I'm saying, like, yeah, you have to be competitive, but it's hard to say exactly where we should finish considering on what we are and what we need to do and what we have to go through. Ray said we went backwards since we changed the manager. You guys have to admit it. I don't know how to put this. If you have a team that wasn't really built properly, and you had a manager here that was here for 3 seasons, and they were playing a certain style, and they were playing a certain formation, and then you get a new manager in the middle of a season playing 2 to 3 matches a week and changes the entire system and an identity of football. This is why we have a problem in this fan base, because no shit, we're going to go backwards because we are changing a lot of things and it's not going to go forward. it's in the initial period. We are in a transition period. Like, people don't understand this. We didn't go, like, we didn't do the change where, like, we have a set identity and style of play, and we just went and grabbed another manager and continued and made some minor tweaks. We made major changes in the middle of the season. So obviously, it's going to go up and down, up and down. So you can say we've gone backwards. Maybe in some aspects we have. In some aspects pertaining to how he plays and how we want to play and how this club wants to play football, there's some aspects that have improved from when he started to now. So to say we've gone backwards and just close the book and that's it, we've gone backwards, no, because we're in the middle of a process. We have to go through this. There's going to be a transfer window. We got to get players in. There's a preseason. There's another season. And we're going to take it from there and see if we actually, how far we've actually gone backwards. But I agree. The club has been going backwards for quite some time because we haven't done what we were supposed to do, especially with our previous predecessors in charge, spending and wasting money on shit players like Anthony and etc. Spending 80 million and spending 80 million on Sancho and not building a squad and not having any style of play. Ray says in Europe we've been lucky. I disagree again. The last 2 games we got a couple calls for us and that was 50-50, but I don't see going nowhere. I disagree. I think in Europe, again, especially in the Europa League, it's slower, it's less physical, and we are able to play better, and we are able to play our game better, and we have more time on the ball, and we're able to play a better game. The Premier League is faster and it's more physical. So, because we live in the Premier League, what must we do? Number 1, the players that we have that we can use, we got to improve them. Number 2, we got to get players that are quicker in passing, IQ, more physical, and can perform to the high level of the Premier League. We don't have that quality. We don't have enough of that quality in our squad. So we're going to struggle, and we're going to continue to struggle in the Prem, which is why the transfer window is going to be very important for next season. Again, Europe is slower and it's less physical. We could compete. That's why I've been saying the whole time I don't fear any, and I didn't fear any European team that was in there because they're all from different leagues. They play different football, and I think we could compete with them. I always said Tottenham might be our biggest problem, as shit as their season has been as ours. They are a Premier League team, and we struggle, obviously, clearly in the Premier League against Premier League teams because they're more physical, they're faster, and we don't have the qualities as a whole as a squad to compete. We get exposed in certain areas. Custard said I would say top 5 if we win Europa, top 7 if we don't. I mean, listen, obviously, they got to try and win as many games as possible, and you got to try and get as many points as possible. And for me, I'm just going to take it as I'm going to see how the season goes and see what happens. But first, we got to do the transfer window. And I'll have more of a concrete feeling, when the season actually starts based on what kind of business we do, who we get, and how the team's looking in terms of transfers in, transfers out. Did Bruno not playing have an effect on Maguire's performance? I don't know what that means. That obviously, how would that have an effect on him? It had an effect as a whole in the squad when you're playing 3-4 youngsters, your backup goalkeeper, you're playing De Ligt, who just came back from injury, who just got re-injured. Garnacho was the only one that Garnacho and Ugarte were probably the only ones that have been playing on a consistent basis and have played most matches. Mainu struggling for fitness and is a young guy. Not struggling for fitness, but he's came back from injury. He's not as sharp as he should be. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what that really means. You're just saying things just to say them at this point, really. He is mainly responsible for our worst season in EPL, considering the second part of the season we are 17. Sure, okay, put it on him. And that's fine. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't care. Me personally, I don't care. I don't care, and I don't give a shit. So that's fine. Blame him. Say he's part of he's mainly responsible for our worst season. Sure. Go ahead. I understand the circumstances at the club. You can continue to choose and ignore them and just put everything on the manager. Like other people did to your buddy, Eric Ten Hag. That's fine. I don't really care. It's not important to me. I don't give a shit about it. Don't really care. I have 2 main focuses. We're in the Europa League semi-final. We have 1 foot in the door. Go do the job, get us into the final, win the Europa League, get us into the Champions League, and we go again next season, and we go from there. And that's all I really care about. Axe says he has to integrate young players into the cohesive system. Currently, we have no system, so there is no way to help the youth. We have a system. You say we have no system. If you say we have no system, I question what you know about football. We have a system. The system is there. The system has been clear before he managed the game. The execution of the system isn't going well. But we have no system. We do have a system. He has a clear system, and he has a clear way of playing football. That's why you people keep telling him to change the formation and play a 4-back. There is a system there. It plays. But it's not being executed properly, again, because of personnel. I don't understand why everybody just doesn't want to admit that a lot of the players that we have aren't good enough or they're shit, and that we need to replace them, and we need to do what football clubs do and get in new personnel that fit the system. I don't understand why it's so hard. And by the way, I don't, maybe he's played a part, but also, he didn't have the best starting point considering of where Amorim took over and how the team was already performing and how the team already looked. The other manager in charge, he started the season and the team looked very flat and they looked very uninspired. And we were not performing well at all. So wasn't a great starting point for him either to take over in that current situation. And as we all know, like any manager, he would have preferred to take it over in the summer, because to take it over in the time that he taken is very difficult to do, and it's not going to go well. Um, we went backwards overall, considering the second half of the season we are 17th in the league. The process is atrocious and is getting us nowhere. Second team playing is not an excuse to lose. I mean, again, it's not, they're not excuses, they're facts. I don't, you again, they're not excuses, they're facts. Like, we played a rotated squad against a fully fit Brentford strong team playing for a position in Europe. We lost 4-3. Oh well, boo hoo. Go cry to somebody that, wants to cry with you. I'm not crying. I I really don't know. I really don't know what to say anymore. Like, you know, just you know what? You keep attacking the manager and doing your thing. I'll keep doing my thing. We'll see where we get. We'll see where we get, because I don't buy anything that you guys are saying at this moment in time. Um, you know, you say we make excuses for one manager, but you make excuses for somebody else. It just whatever. How's about just get quality that you don't need numbers to see how good they are? How about just get quality that you don't need numbers to see how good you are? I don't know what Obi looks very green, almost camouflage with that grass. I don't know what you're saying, Chad. I don't know what that means. What is get quality that you don't need numbers to see how good they are? I don't know what that means. I really don't. Custer says, I think Amarim knows that playing the kids is somewhat of a free pass. It's like a free loss without pressure. I, I mean, not necessarily, but I think he just goes about it in different ways that then people either agree or think. I think actually right now he's using, number one, we need to rotate, we need to rest, and number two, the priority is Europa League, whether you like it or not. The priority is Europa League. Nobody gives a shit really about the results in the Prem anymore, because it's far too late and there's nothing really to achieve. They don't really matter, other than maybe pride. But I mean that's been killed quite a long time ago in this season. So I think more pressure if the first team lost today. I mean I don't disagree with that, Custard. I just think it's not even that aspect. I think that he's rotating because we need to rotate, and we've used a lot of players in a lot of minutes. Also, I think some of it is that he's using the opportunity to get some of these younger players minutes and game time, and get them a better feeling and understanding for the system and playing these sorts of matches so that he can use them next season. I think there's a lot of sort of pre-planning and sort of look to next season. So I think he's using the opportunity of these kids. Number one, we need to rotate, but number two, they have to, he wants to use them and he plans to use them at some point. But if you can get them some minutes and you can get them some game time in a period where right now, in terms of the league, it doesn't really matter, because next season, obviously, when you start next season, it's a different story. It's going to matter a lot more, because we're going to have to fight and compete. At this moment in time, the league is done and dusted. It's been done and dusted. And whether we finish 17th and 14th is just optics. It's just a number in the league at this point. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't get us Champions League. It might get us an extra 2 million. I mean, whoop-de-doo. So the players that don't stat pad. Yeah, I don't believe in stat padding. So um you either provide to the team or you don't provide to the team. Doesn't matter really what you do. You get goals, you get assists, you make passes, whatever it is you do. You either provide and perform to the team or you don't. You either have an impact of the game or you don't. I don't really believe in stat pad. I think it's a nonsensical term. Custard says Europa is done in my opinion. I don't see a Bilbao comeback. Well, I mean, it should be done. And it should be kind of straightforward. And you know, to get knocked out from this stage is quite basically you know, it's just impossible thing to happen. It can't happen. You know, it can happen in terms of like, you know, anything can happen, but it shouldn't happen is the point, and I don't expect it to happen. So they just got to go out and do a job, which they've been doing, and we're home at Old Trafford, so um, we should be able to get over the line. I see no reason. Axe says, I care about the results in the Premier League week in and week out. Get humiliated. How can you ignore Amorim's competence? Because it's not Amorim. It's not, because you say it's Amorim's incompetence, and it's not incompetence. You ignore all the other aspects, and it's all the manager's fault. That's why you literally ignore everything except for Amorim, and then you take things and put all the blame on Amorim. So yeah, that's why. And that's fine. You can care about the results in the EPL, but that's why you're getting all strung up about something that doesn't even really matter at this point in time. Um, at this current moment in time, I think most people don't really give a shit about what's happening in the Premier League anymore. I think everybody's focused on Europa League, and I think everybody's looking to the summer transfer window, and I think everybody's looking at next season. And obviously next season, when it starts, then yeah, the EPL results and performances and matches have great matter once again. But at this current state in time, they don't. Which is why I don't think many people are pressed. We lost. We rotated the team heavily today. You know, I don't know. The first team hasn't been performing particularly well in the Prem, and they haven't really been able to get over the line. We put out literally a B team, like a complete B team, barring one or two players. We lost the match 4-3 away from home, and people are saying that this is unacceptable. You know, the league is done this year now. Relegation is sorted. I mean, yeah, I mean, so why are we not in the Champions League this year? Well, yeah, but this is what I'm saying. So they just throw everything onto Ruben Amorim. Lions. They just throw, you know, disregard everything that's happened in the past. Disregard how we started this season. Disregard all that. None of that has any matter, because Amorim was supposed to come in here, press one button, turn us into a top 4 contender. We should have finished second this season. We should be scoring 6 goals a game and obliterating teams with a blink of an eye, because, you know, we have the players to do that, and we're such a good team. And we were such a good team, and we were doing that before he came in. So, you know, yeah, you know, it's totally 110,000% his fault for why we are where we are. He came in here November, completely destroyed the club, took us from being, you know, title winning team and challenging for the Premier League to a team that's now in 17th, and it's all his fault, and he's absolute garbage. You know, I don't even know how he still has a job right now. He should be sacked. He's clueless. You know, I can get a 7-year-old to go in there and manage better than him. You know, maybe we should just put Axe Lord in there. I'm sure he'll last very long. You know, yeah, I think it would go well. Stat padding is when none of your rivals want your captain and fans in the club and didn't want him, but his fans use numbers to back his quality. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're another one. Bruno Hayton. Bruno didn't even play today. Bruno's been one of our best players of the season. And even Arsenal fans are saying that for how they lauded Odegaard. They're saying they're apologizing to us for comparing Odegaard to Bruno, because Bruno's obviously miles ahead. So, yeah, we're talking about a player that didn't even play at all today. and scored 2 goals last match and put us in and is our captain. Yeah. Um, and by the way, Bruno Fernandes, he would go into every probably starting lineup in every team that's in the top 4, top 5. So, plus this is only top 5 where he's still interesting in the league. Well, yeah, that's where the points are. I mean, but our season has been done. So, what was KDB's contribution during his Champions League winning season? Nobody cares because you could see his quality in 5 seconds of him touching the ball. I don't know. Never mind. I still believe in you, Sir Amir. Amir. Oh yes, it was Amir. Amir. Yeah, talk to these guys. Maybe some of your positivity will rub off on them. Um. Yeah, my friend Amir is here. Yeah, Axel for coach. Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't last past 2 months, and nobody would. So yeah. What Arsenal fan? All the Arsenal fans. All of them. All of the Arsenal fans that said Odegaard was better than Bruno. Literally all of them. Literally last week was saying we're sorry for the disrespect to Bruno Fernandes for comparing him to Odegaard and saying Odegaard was better than Bruno. All of them. All the Arsenal fans. All of them. Not what Arsenal fan. All the Arsenal fans. The fan base of Arsenal. Liverpool losing, and of course they don't get a red for studs up challenge. Last year, Odegaard was better. Yeah, he might have performed better. Might have performed better last year. So Bruno in Liverpool, Bruno in Newcastle, Bruno in City, and Bruno in Villa. Yeah, yeah. He would literally be starting in all of their teams. I mean, the impact that he has on the game. It's not lies. You're literally just agenda against Bruno, and you're delusional. I mean, that's all that is. You think that Bruno Fernandes wouldn't go to any top team? Yeah, I know all of them. Yeah, because it's called the internet, and it's you can quite gauge an opinion whether it's on YouTube or on Twitter. Yeah, you can gauge a quite good opinion, and when I see basically the entire fan base posting about how Bruno is better than Odegaard, and we shouldn't have compared them, you know, when people are going on high YouTube channels with a lot of subscribers and they're saying that Bruno is a better player than Odegaard, um, and that they should have put more respect on Bruno's name. Yeah, yeah. Over who? Over who? Over who? I don't know. To this at this point, I actually, Chad, I really don't. You know what? I'm not in the mood for it today. I really don't give a fuck. I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't care. I don't care about your Bruno agenda. I don't give a shit. I'm not talking about Bruno. Bruno didn't fucking play the match today. He didn't play 90 minutes. So you keep talking about Bruno. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna ignore you. You want to talk about something else? Then go ahead. But I'm not. I'm not doing this today. I'm not. I don't. Bruno didn't even play the fucking match. So why are we talking about Bruno now? I don't care who he's replacing. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Your opinion literally doesn't matter to the club. Bruno Fernandes is not going anywhere. He's going to be our captain. And that's the end of the story. So go talk to somebody on Twitter that hates Bruno Fernandes as well. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm not doing this today. I'm not. It's fucking nonsense. But why are we talking about a player that didn't even feature in the match today? It has nothing to do with anything. And our team is such an underperforming team, and he's one of the better performers, and we're gonna start targeting him as well. I mean, it's fucking nonsense. Just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. Absolute nonsense. We don't even need to do player ratings today because nobody's getting a good score. I'll just tell you right off the bat, Garnacho got the highest score. Pretty much everybody basically a 5 or something like that, below average for sure. I mean, not everybody, but most of the squad. I think Diallo did okay, so you should get like a 6.5 because he got a goal. Mount did all right. Probably give him a 6 for getting the goal. But Garnacho, highest performing player, and goal and assist, and I think he was the best player we had on the pitch today, and he's my man of the match. He's my man of the match. Everybody else, especially the young ones like Amos and Fredrickson, they struggled. I'd probably give them like 5s or something, but I understand the position that they're in. They're the young kids, and uh, it was always going to be a tough match for them away from home. Um, and not more of our senior players out there kind of helping them out in that aspect. So, 1,000 subscribers is not even 1% of a million. Not all people comment. Cool. So go find the rest of them and go ask them, because from the people that make their voices heard and give an opinion, yeah, you are one of those people. You're a minority, and you have an agenda. You do. You do. You have an agenda. Because you come in here talking about Maguire having a bad game. Where were you the past couple games when he scored the winner, when he had the good games? Where were you? You weren't here. When Bruno was scoring goals and performing, you weren't here and you weren't saying anything. You come in, you start talking about Bruno, who didn't play, and you start talking about Maguire and how Maguire had a bad game. Some channels have stirred up Player FC where it's okay to get angry at players, but not the manager. Well, yeah, maybe, but also it's just something in society. It's the way football has gone, really, Custard. It's gone with this whole brand thing, and I guess it got exacerbated, I guess, by Ronaldo and Messi. People that I guess started watching football not so long ago, and maybe they didn't really have a connection to a team, and they I know quite a few people like that. They club hop. They don't have a club. They club hop depending on what player is where. For players somewhere, they support the club. Support the club. The player goes to another club. They support that club. All of a sudden, they don't give a shit about the other team. I think that culture is kind of built into football, unfortunately, because I think it's a shit part of the culture and it's nonsense. Um, I tell you right now, I don't really give a shit about any of the players. In any type of way like that. I don't have, not a child. I don't have posters of them. I don't look up to them as idols. They are players and they have a job. Some of them are good and they perform. Some of them don't do enough and they shouldn't be here. I have a Garnacho shirt, but I've talked about, should we sell him? I think we might sell him. We could sell him, and if we sell him, then we sell him. I'm not gonna cry. Um, there's nothing to protect individually. It's about Manchester United. It's about the team. It's about the team. Would you play any young players in the Europa next week? No. Well, maybe as subs or something. I wouldn't start them. I think we need to start our strongest team. And probably the same team that we started, Custard, that we started in the first leg. Start them again, have them finish the job, and if the match goes particularly well, where we have a decently good lead, like let's say let's say we're winning 2-1 or something, so aggregate 5-1. We get to the second half. I think maybe you could sub one or two of them in, and maybe give them some minutes, but start them. Nah, I wouldn't take that risk or gamble. I think the team that played the first leg should play the second leg and close it out and finish it. And then later on in the match, if we're in a very good position and it hasn't gotten to a point where it looks sort of tight, or kind of nervy or something like that, then I think you can sub maybe Amos in a position or something like that. Or I mean, Cheeto, we can't use him, so can't do nothing about that. But um, I have, and most soccer players in the streets don't comment on social media. Yeah. Criticism and Bruno and Garnacho has been ridiculous in the last year. Bro, it's just because you know what it is? It's because people can't come up with solutions and they don't have good answers. So they just look to put blame on whoever they can put blame on. Um, and they don't, it's a very basic level of thinking, unfortunately, because there's no detail and there's no substance behind it. It's just blame. It's really just things are bad. I have to blame somebody. Blame, blame, blame. All right, I did my job. Uh, and then yeah, when they go, we'll be okay. And then they go because we've done this already. We've been through this 5 or 6 times already. Whether it was Pogba, whether it was this, yeah. When they go, all our problems will be solved. We'll be in the promised land, and everything will be fine, and everything will be good because, you know, they're the problems. They've always been the problems. They're the main problems. They're the biggest issues at the football club. When we get rid of them or they go, we'll be champions again. Yeah, we've done that 3 or 4 times already in under 3 or 4 different managers with numerous different squads and numerous different players. Singling out one single player or putting all the blame on just the manager, and that's worked out wonders for us. It's worked out wonders for us. That's why we are where we are. So, um, you should get a poster of Maguire. Wait, well, if I do, I would get a statue. We should put that. We should get that statue. Somebody made one where it was like a fridge. They put his fridge as a head. Um, and they put it outside Old Trafford. Maybe we should do that. Criticism. Yeah, I read that. Axe says I need to go now. Thanks for the stream and have a good day. Well, thank you, Axe, and we'll see you later. May we have a good future week, everyone. Yeah, we'll see you later. Talk later. Have a good night, buddy. Be good. Yeah. But internet disconnected. Your moderator is back. Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. But I'm gonna get out of here anyway too, because I mean, there's nothing really left to talk about. And yeah, it's it's pretty much over. It's over. There's nothing really. Let's close the stream like it's on. No, I'm fine. I mean, I just don't. I just hate all the. I just hate all the pylon. And it gets really frustrating because I don't hate them for their opinions. It's not that. It's just that the things that they say, I've heard and seen this in the fan base for like 8 years now, and it just drives me nuts because we're going around in circles, and it's like I don't know when some of us are gonna wake up and look at the bigger core issues that we have at the club, like and actually start focusing on those and demanding change in those areas. And let's actually do the job that the football club actually needs to do. You know, again, um, I could have came here and like I could have came in and said no Bruno, no party, and that's why we lost. But I don't think it makes much sense. It doesn't make sense. Like we rotated the whole squad. We played a B team against a Brentford team that plays good football, and we were away from home. Like I don't understand why people get so upset. Like, yeah, disappointed at the result, but like, no, it is what it is. Like we all we all would we all what we are. We got a job to do. We gotta get through this, man. I don't know. I look at our project very similar I mean, there's some circumstances that are different, but I look at our project the same way as Arsenal. Um, Young, sort of inexperienced coach. I think Amorim has more experience than Arteta had, but squad was shit. They didn't do it. Arsenal didn't do anything of any relevancy for 20 years. Came in, they finished eighth twice, but their structure and the people in charge, like Edu and shit, that were running the football club and doing operations, they actually buckled down. They did right by the manager. The manager had a good idea, uh, and a good philosophy of football, which I believe we have one as well. They replaced all the players, got in new players, and they transformed the team. And I think literally on the basics of level, that's all we have to do. Then once we get to a solid point, we can start getting into the nitty gritties of, does this player execute this position that properly? Is there somebody out there that plays it much better, like to perfection? But we're nowhere near that right now. We don't have a base. We don't have a core. We haven't had one. We need to establish one. Until we do that, nothing's gonna work. So nothing's gonna work. Like the issue of leadership. Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes is a fine leadership. I think I don't think Bruno Fernandes is a problem with leadership. I don't know how you would say that he is, but I would say leadership, Chad. Again, I'm not, for one person solely to Bruno. If you want to put it on him because he's the captain, but again, to me, it goes to the squad. I mean, yeah, you're the main leader, but you need leaders everywhere. And again, I just think the squad misses many characteristics and many aspects, and you're not gonna. If they don't have it now, most of them aren't gonna get it. Most of them aren't gonna find. It's not just gonna pop up. It's not just gonna happen. That's why you transfer players in. That's why also like people that I see some people say that like Amorim hasn't earned the right to get any money to buy players, and I'm like, you people are crazy because that you're literally giving the manager a rope and telling him to hang himself if we don't get players in. I mean, I don't understand some of the thought processes. Every club literally has the basic blueprint at heart. Is some minor differences and whatever, but the basic blueprint at the heart is you need to build a core team and principle that fit the football that you're trying to play. If you can't make it to that level, then why are you trying to build the roof? Because it's all going to collapse. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank everybody for getting involved in the chat. Thank you for smashing the like button as well. If you smash the like button, well, most likely, let me see. We might stream tomorrow. I don't know. If it's not tomorrow, it'll be Tuesday. I'll let you guys know. Mostly in the Discord. I will make some sort of announcement. I'll put one on the channel as well. If we stream tomorrow, it'll be 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 8 p.m. UK. If you're somewhere else, you got to do the conversion for yourself. So I can't. I can't help you with that. I only know UK conversion. Yeah. So we'll see about that. Obviously, we'll be live after the match. For the Europa League. And you know what? I think maybe we'll do. I'll see if I can set it up. My setup isn't great for watch-alongs because the camera's here, obviously, and my TV and shit is here. So I gotta see if I can kind of adjust it without ruining my setup stream. But if I can do that and I can make it work, maybe we'll do a watch-along as well for that match. So we can watch and analyze the match together. But yeah, I'll let you guys know. So Um, yeah, we'll see what we get tomorrow. Because if there's not many things to talk about, they ain't much to talk about at the current moment. So we don't get some good news tomorrow. If it's sort of a slow news day, which sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Then it'll depend if we go live or not. But then, worst comes to worst, we'll go live Tuesday for sure. Because after 2 days, you can at least have some sort of discussion to talk about. There should be enough things to talk about. So, um, or we will get involved in the Discord. Yeah, yeah, we could do that too. So, um, by the way, who's getting promotion before we end it? Because I didn't even know who's coming up. Did they sort that out? I know Leeds is right. Um, where's the league? Leeds and Burnley confirmed. Oh yeah, Burnley was another one, right? And then what is it? There's a playoff that has to happen, so it's between uh who is this? Oh, so it's between what? Sheffield United and Bristol City and Sunderland and Coventry? Well, Leeds is back again, so there comes that rivalry. Um, we'll have another sort of derby to play in. You know what though, I would like for for no particular reason. Um, I would like, I guess, Bristol to get through. I don't know how much of a chance they stand, but I would like Bristol to get. I'd like to see a new team get promoted. I'm not even too thrilled the fact that Leeds and Burnley are coming back up again. Like, I want to see some new teams, and they got to do something because relegation is dying. In terms of it actually mattering. I think third to fifth is still open for teams to get into the playoffs. Not. I don't know. From what I see, they have a knockout phase already established, and it says it's Bristol versus Sheffield, and it's Coventry versus Sunderland. Bristol, Sheffield play on the 8th, and Coventry and Sunderland play on the 9th. And then that will determine. Well, when was the last time Coventry was in there too? Right? When was the last time they were in the Prem? It's been a while, no? It's been a long time, no? Um, I can't even tell you. How far do you have to go back to find that out? Championship, and it's got to be years, no? They were all the way in League Two, 2018, 17. When was the last time they were in the Premier League? How long ago was that? That was like 20 years ago or something? I mean, Blackburn can still sneak into the playoffs with 2 games to go. No, I don't. I don't know. You guys would probably know more than me. I don't really pay attention to too much. I'm just looking at something on my phone. Like, I don't know if you can see that, but I'm on Sofa Score, and this is what I see. I don't even know if you can see that, but um. So I don't know if they can swap. I don't know if that's set. I don't know. When I don't know, I don't know. I won't profess to know. Um, but now I want to know, when was the last time they were in the Premier League before we get out of here? When was Coventry City? Coventry City last was last in the Prem during 2000 and 2001 season. Um, they were relegated at the end of at the end of that season, ending their 34-year run in the top division. That's actually quite crazy. They were in the top division for 34 years. They got relegated in 2001 season, and they've been MIA for 24 years. Yeah, so I mean Bristol or Coventry, I'll take them. I really don't want to see I mean Sunderland too, like they've been kind of out for a while, but I really don't want to see um I don't want to see Sheffield. You know, Sheffield's been here like twice already. I don't want to see them come back, especially the fact that Leeds and Burnley um are back. I'd like somebody know. I wish there were three. I wish it was three new teams. Wish it was three new teams. But I guess we'll take one. You know, somebody that we haven't seen, you know, in quite a long time. I think that would be good. But they got to figure out the relegation because I mean, uh, relegation has become quite dead. All the teams that come up go down. Uh, they do one season in the Prem and they get relegated. Um, you know, so I don't know. That's they got to fix that aspect. It's not a good aspect to have. Um, Not Blackburn. I made a bet with my late brother that we will win the league before his team gets promoted again. It's our last active bet, and I can't lose another. well, well, we'll see. I guess. Where are they anyway? Let me look at this table. Uh, where's Blackburn? 7th, 66 points. How many matches they got left? No, there's no matches. This is they can't. It's over. Oh yeah, by the way, I kind of missed that part. Yeah, sorry about that. Your late brother passed away. Um, yeah, sorry about that. Um, yeah, I think this is set. I think there's no more league matches. There's no more league matches. So actually, I think Chad's bet will stay in his favor right now because I don't think that there's no more games. So they there's no more matches in the championship. Listen, I get it, Chad. I mean, everybody is don't they play 48 games? I mean, unless this app is not accurate, but I'm looking at like oh shit, hold on. Oh wait. I might have made a mistake. Hold on. Hold on. I've gone backwards. It's backwards. Um no, yeah, they're in the semifinals already. The playoffs is already set. The playoffs is already set. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. The playoffs is already set. It's Bristol and Sheffield and Coventry and Sunderland, and they're gonna play two matches each. And that's it. That's the playoffs. So the league is done, and the league is over. And whoever's in is in, and whoever's out is out. Other than the playoff team. So yeah, but Blackburn it's not gonna happen for them this year. So um But yeah, Chad, everybody's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated. We're not where we want to be. So, I get that part. But, we need to focus on big things that's going to transform the football club as a whole. That's my frustration. So excuse me. Well, before Chad as well. But, it's not really a you guys thing. It's really it's just a general discourse that goes around the United fan base, and I think it gets too carried away. But I'm tired of going around in the merry-go-round. That's what it is. I'm tired of going around on the same old, just shit, just blaming one individual player, blaming the manager for everything, and thinking that getting rid of one manager and getting in a new manager is going to fix things quickly. When it's not. I mean, the evidence is there that it's not. It's never going to happen. So we got a lot of work to do in many aspects. Um, could be Lampard. Cou- Where is Lampard? Where is Lampard? Coventry. He's at Coventry. He's coming back again. That Frank. I think that's mean to call him that, but they were calling him that. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Uh, Maybe I'll give it a watch. 5/8. When's that? Are those? Is that a Friday or something? That's coming up soon. No, 4 days. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's on a Thursday. One's on Thursday and one's on Friday. Well, the Thursday one, obviously, not gonna watch that because we got our game and our match. That we gotta watch. So yeah, I think Lampard and Parker are decent. Well, the thing is, and that fits into my sort of philosophy, that it seems like all the managers that tend to do very well, or at least decently well, especially in more recent times, they're all midfielders. Every single one of them, they're all midfielders. Um, and I've always argued, and that's because you don't have to be the best player in terms of ability wise as a midfielder, but if you can read both sides of the game, which a midfielder usually has to do, um, you develop quite a good IQ of reading the game, and I think that translates over to, at the very least, managing with like tactics and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, you also have to have some other characteristics um, to be an excellent manager. But in terms of creating a playing style, um, and doing tactics and sort of like setting up a team to play in a certain way, uh, the ones that used to be midfielders, they tend to do quite good, like central midfielders. I mean, look at Xabi Alonso. A couple other people out there as well, but yeah, it seems like it didn't really work out well for us, though. I mean, like Paul Scholes, I think was like one of the biggest letdowns. And most of our ex players like that, especially from that period. I mean, the one that see here's the thing, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like characteristics, I don't know. Scholes strikes me as one. You know, when I hear him talk on TV, he doesn't be a manager. I'm like he doesn't have like some certain qualities in terms of being like I guess sort of a man manager. Like what like he was brilliant playing the game and he had a good IQ and a good vision. I'm sure he can identify things on the pitch and tactics wise, but kind of need the whole package. But like I think Carrick. one that was a little bit more quieter, still a good midfielder, but I think many people would say Scholes is better than Carrick. Uh, but Carrick has a different sort of personality and stuff. So, um, Chad says at least you're not hiding away like on the podcast. Well, there's nothing to hide. At the end of the day, it's discussion and opinion. I never believe in that anyway. I never believe in that. There's no reason to hide. It's just opinions. I know what you're kind of saying there. But there's nothing wrong. It's because I'm not afraid to be wrong. Like I don't care about being wrong. At a point, and because I'm always wrong about things. Always have been, always will. I'm not. There's too many people out there that they need to be right about everything, which I think is an issue and stops from real opinion being said because they try to walk a fine line to make sure that they don't get. And also, society is quite a little bit messed up on that aspect as well because, um, you know, just for the fact I said it on the show the other day after the Europa League match, like I woke up to people going on my Twitter and digging out a tweet about me saying that Maguire will never get past fourth choice in terms of starting, like he was fourth option. Because remember, he was fourth option, and I made a tweet and because again, I was sick of the PR that they do, and I was like, I just want to see it on the pitch. Just show me something on the pitch, and I will back you. But at that point, we didn't start the season yet, and it was just constant PR from Maguire. Whether he was putting it out or the club was putting it out, and I was like, I don't want to hear this shit. I want to see it. So they were putting things out like he was training with Ricardo Carvalho extra 3 times a week or whatever. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, that's great and well, but I'm like, him training isn't going to improve his speed. He's still slow. He's still going to get beat for pace with the way we're playing. He's still going to get exposed. He's still. I don't see how training is going to improve sort of his um again his speed with the ball. Like sometimes he gets caught in possession with it, and that was an issue. Um, so I put out a tweet saying that like, but he can train 7 days a week, 365. I was like, he's still going to be fourth choice. Well, obviously, clearly, I was wrong because he had that season was probably his best season at United since it was so shit. Prior to that, it is his best season, and even this season, he's been quite good. Um, and he's been important. And he's come up in some big moments as well. And I wake up to people digging out this tweet. It's from 2023, and they're telling me talk now, and they're calling me a bitch, and they calling me all sorts of things, and I'm like, I didn't respond because first of all, they're weirdo accounts with like 83 followers. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my time on you people. But realistically, I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I said those things. That's actually why that tweet was still there. Because I don't hide from things. I said it. I could have easily erased it, especially after he started playing better. And especially after he started coming good. I could have just deleted the tweet. I kept the tweet there because I was like, that was a period where that was a valid criticism. And he wasn't playing good. And I was like, since that time, I've moved on to give him praise because he's performed and played good. And that's how I operate. I'm like, there's nothing to hide. He was shit. I gave the opinion when he was shit. I think he's done much better, and I've given him praise for improving on the pitch. It's so best to ignore Twitter replies. Well, sometimes I ignore Twitter, but listen, the internet could be very whatever. But those people, obviously, I mean, they're just listen. I'm sure those people haven't touched grass in a couple years. So, when you have now, I'm not. Bro, I got like 1,000 something followers on Twitter. It's not like I have like thousands and thousands or hundreds and thousands. But like when when you have like 70 followers and you literally comment on other people's stuff and nobody replies to you and nobody likes your stuff and no and you have some profile picture because it's my face on the profile picture as well. You have some profile picture that's like of an emblem or some shit and nobody listens to what you say. I mean, I'm not gonna take my time to respond to any of you. Now if somebody, for example, like I've had discussions with Terry Flowers, that does the football terrace. I've talked to him on Twitter back and forths a little bit about some things. I've talked with United Muppeteers on a couple things. And generally I reply, and you get some people that actually, like, you will put out an opinion and they will give you an opinion back whether they agree with it or not. There's some substance to it, there's something there to have a conversation with. Those people, I'll reply to them. Somebody that if I say something like, yeah, I think Maguire's had a good season, and somebody comes to me and says, shut up, you're a stupid bitch, you have no clue what you're talking about, bro, I'm not answering that guy. You know what I mean? You could have came and said, well, I disagree. I think that Maguire hasn't had a good season because he's made this many amount of mistakes and this sort of thing. Like, and this is what I'm talking about. You come with it, anybody can have whatever opinion they want, but there's certain ones I'll entertain. There's other ones I'm not going to entertain because it's just nonsense. Like, it's absolutely nonsense. Like, and especially when if you can't provide something to me for us to have a back and forth discussion and get me to think about other aspects, then I just it's disregarded. I'm not gonna buy into it. If you could give me something, even if I don't necessarily agree with it, but if you give me something that's structured and has an idea and belief behind it, I'll bite into it and we'll talk about it. So in training he is like a Gary Neville wasn't good either. I mean, none of them were good. I mean, Giggs didn't go well. Keane didn't go well. Scholes didn't go well. Neville, disaster. Um, Carrick is one that might have, maybe. But he's got some more time and some more work. But I feel like Carrick is sort of doing it. I think he's doing good for where he's at, but I feel like Carrick's doing it the right way, the proper way, and I think the right way and the proper way might take him some years. It was Ali, obviously, but I mean, Ali really didn't do much other than getting the miracle dream to do Manchester United, and I think he did all right for a certain period of time. But I mean, if we didn't hand him sort of that gift, he didn't really do much either. And really the only other one is Van de Sar that is CEO, but he ain't the manager. Everybody else, I mean, Rooney is getting just obliterated. It's been real rough for him and real bad. I can't think of anybody else that's used to be our players. I mean, there was Steve Bruce at a time. He was all right. I mean, he didn't he wasn't phenomenal, but he did all right. He was managing in the Prem and stuff like that, and a couple teams. Yeah, but I don't think. Yeah, I don't know. It hasn't gone well for us in that department, actually. So I hopefully, my hope is I always liked Michael Carrick. I really liked him, so I hope he does become a top manager at some point. I don't know how it's gone for him in the season. I mean, I wanted him to get promoted last season, but they finished 10th, Middlesbrough in the middle. So maybe next season, hopefully they go forward. But yeah. But I'm gonna get out of here, guys. We'll speak either tomorrow or Tuesday. But we'll chat a little bit in the Discord regardless. So I'll let you guys know. Lyle has dropped the link, and it's there and says drop a like, subscribe, and get in the Discord. Yeah, so if you want to join the Discord, it's a good Discord, lots of channels, We're providing a lot of updates in there, a lot of news stuff, some good discussions as well. And it's a way to interact with each other, when we're not live here on YouTube, which is only, a couple hours of the day. We can talk and anybody can talk. I don't need to be involved. You guys can speak amongst yourselves in there as well. So we're going to grow that out as well. And that's going to be good. I'll drop the link again in the I'll drop the link again in the comments under the show. Yeah, I'll drop the link under the comments under the show, so it's there. I gotta put it in the bio for the channel, which I haven't done. Maybe I'll do it later, if I have some time to do it. Chad says, "Look at how Yoro put his head by the ball as the player took a shot like Prime Vidic, and he is only a teen. That's class." Yeah, and that's what I mean, Chad. By Ruben Amorim needs, like, it's not really just him, but just as a whole, like as Manchester as a whole, we need players with more and better certain characteristics. Like, I think something like that, Chad. I don't think a manager can kind of. I don't think a manager can teach somebody that. I don't think, like, if that's not part of the who they are as a person, which translates onto the pitch as a player. I don't think like a manager can really. I think you can. I think you can make it stronger if it's there. You can make it come out more, right? But if it's not there, it's not something that a manager can make them just all of a sudden find. They can't just sort of one day wake up and sort of have that as part of them as a player. And that's why I keep arguing, like, we have a personnel issue, we have a characteristic issue in this squad, and that's why we need to really sort out this squad with players. And we got to get players that fit this guy's system and the identity of football. Because again, also, like, not for nothing, but again, I don't really, not really too bothered about the formation. But if Ineos are doing what they're supposed to do as a football club, even if we sack Ruben Amorim, the next step is to get a manager that has a similar philosophy and style of football as Ruben Amorim. So it would either most likely be some sort of a three-back, or if it's not a three-back, it still has to have certain principles. Like, it would still have to be high pressing, possession, up the pitch, quick interchangeable passes, stuff like that. So, like, we need to get the players to help Ruben so that he can help build the team. But also, my argument has always been, it's much bigger than Ruben. It's not about Ruben. It's about getting this project at the club and the identity and the philosophy of football actually having one, and making it good, because we haven't done that. We've ripped apart projects 3 or 4 times and started from scratch. And I mean, we've technically done it now, but the circumstances are a little different, considering that we had one people in charge of the football operations. We have new people in charge of the football operations, and they didn't make any of those past decisions, and they're going to make their own decisions. So, I mean, the circumstances in that sense is a little bit different. So, but the point is, like, now that they're here, they should not be chopping and changing plans, identities, and philosophies. It should be set, and we should be looking to make it as strong as possible and as good as possible. Because for me, listen, if Amorim gets sacked because it fails in terms of, like, results or whatever, that's one thing. But then it's going to be real telling to me who comes in and replaces. Because if they go and do like a 180 to Ruben Amorim, then we're never gonna go anywhere, and we're gonna be totally fucked for until who knows how long. And that's my only thing, because again, we don't have a foundation, so warrior spirit isn't for everyone. It's not, and that's what's important about identifying and getting the correct personnel, and recruitment is so important, which we've been so poor. We've been so poor. That picture of Ruben with the Prem is like touching the Stanley Cup before he won it. It's a bad omen. Nah, I mean, I don't really believe it. I don't really feel that way. It's to show, it's not to brag, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's to show support that I trust that he can sort of transform this team, because I believe that he is a good manager, and I think he has a good system and a good style of football. I just think that our problems at the club are quite big, and I'm just trying to back and get behind the manager and show that he can, that I believe in him. I think if we do that photo is there because I think if we do what we're supposed to do as a football club, I think he can actually get us there, or at the very least in and around there. Again, I see it very similar. Him, and Arteta, and like Arsenal's project and our project. I see it very similar. The only difference is that obviously we have the Glazers. I mean, the Cronkies weren't very much liked, but there was sort of a shift that went on up there, and they did right by the manager. They got rid of problem players like Aubameyang and Ozil, who were on lots of money, and they were overpaid, and they were underperforming, and they had bad attitudes. That wasn't, they were doing more harm than positive, and they got rid of a lot of crap players. I mean, they had fucking Mustafi playing center back. You know what I mean? How is Mustafi going to play center back in Arteta's system? It doesn't work. And whoever else they had, they had some really shit players, compared to when you look at the team that they have now and the players and the way that they play. So yeah, no, I know it's all good. I hope it's not a bad omen. Eric, don't forget to add the Discord link to the bio and also to the description of your lives. Yeah, I got to do that more. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it. I'll see you later, chat. I'll see you later, guys. Be good. And I'll let you guys know if we're streaming tomorrow or not. In the Discord. But at the very least, if not Monday, then Tuesday for sure. And then obviously Thursday we will be live, and I'll let you know if we do a watch along. My plan is to do a watch along. But I want to. I got to see how much time. Maybe I'll try and set it up Wednesday, because maybe we won't stream. At least I don't plan to stream. And if I have time during Wednesday, I'll be able to see if I can adjust it so I can watch the game and look at the chat or whatever, or at least have the camera facing me. So, is when you do a watch along and I'm watching the TV like this and you guys are chatting away, it doesn't really resonate quite well. So, yeah. But everybody be good. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Sundays, weekends, whatever. Stay safe. Thank you for all the support. Appreciate all of you. And get in the live comments if you want as well. Not the live comments, the comments underneath the stream. Get in there as well. That helps us out as well. So thank you guys. Be good. And have